Hello everyone, welcome back. In this video we'll be learning about identification and authentication failures and the ways through which we can exploit them, as well as we'll be also learning about the prevention methods. So let's go ahead and start. So as we can see, in 2017 this vulnerability was in top second position, but in 2021 its position has been shifted to 7th based on the various factors which we'll be seeing in the next slide. So let's go ahead and see. So these are the factors which affected its position, and we can also see that there are total number of CVs found were more than 3,000. So for instance, if the application has the vulnerability, then the application can be hacked using the credential stuffing method, which is one way. So basically this credential stuffing is a cyber attack method in which the attackers can use the list of compromised user credentials to breach into the system. So let's go ahead and see how actually it works. So let's say there is a web app. Okay, there is a web app 1 in which I have username and password. Okay, let me draw it like, let's say I have a web app 1 where I have a login page with username and password and login. So let's say this is application 1, and there is also application 2, web app 2, and similarly I have username and password, and let's say there is a code which is login. So for instance, so let's say the hacker has breached into this system and got the username and passwords of all the people who are using this web app 2. Let's say there is a person called Teja, which is also using this application, and his username is, let's say, Teja, and his password is, let's say, Teja123. Okay, so this password has been already compromised, and the attacker knows his username and password. Let's say I'm very bad at remembering the things, so I'll be using the same password for multiple applications. Let's say there is a number of applications in which I have used the same username and password. So the hacker will use the same username and password in these multiple applications, and he'll be getting login successful, right? Because I'm using the same password. So this should be overcome. So this is one of the method where the hacker can get the information about your username and password and can log into multiple applications. So this is also known as like brute force attack. So I'll be using a list. Let's say there is xyz.text in which I have txt, in which I have multiple username and passwords, and I'll just match this. Okay, so let's say there is admin 1 and admin 1 2 3 and so on. Like there are default passwords which already been hacked, or which most of the people are using in this application. So I'll be just matching it, right? I'll be using this first username and password, and I'll just match it. So if that is successful, I'll be logging successful, right? And I'll be using the second one, I'll be using third one. So at some point of time, if the user is using some default passwords, then he'll be easily be hacked. So this is also one of the method which is known as brute force attack. And the other one is using weak or ineffective credential recovery. So let's say I have forgot my username and password, right? So let's say this is my username and password, and I have forgot that. So whenever I use, there is also a section called, let's say, forgot. Okay, I've used this forgot password. So whenever I use this forgot password, let's say I'll be redirecting to the other page where I'll be using username, a question and an answer. So if those are easy, like let's say my name or something, so it can be easily identified, or let's say my pet name, it can be easily identified. I can do some enumeration methods or reconnaissance, and I can get this information from maybe social media or some other websites. so it can be easily compromised. So this is also a way through which you can be attacked. And the other method is saving the passwords. So let's say in our database, okay, I'll be just I should encrypt it, right? I should be using the strong encryption method, and I should encrypt it. So XYZ something. So instead of that, if I don't use encryption method and I'll just use the plain text or weak encryption methods, so it can be also easily compromised. The attacker can easily compromise, because the world is evolving, and we are getting like way advanced techniques through which we can be attacked. So that is one of the method. And let's say for example, a session IDs. Let's say I'll be using, let's say, other new one. So let's say I have went to my friend's place and have used his laptop in order to do a work, or like, let's say, my assignment submission, and I have done my submission. And after that, let's say I'm using some Facebook or some XYZ social media, and I have logged into it, right? And I have just posted some random post, and I just instead of using logout, I just cancelled it. Okay, next time when my friend goes to the same website, I'll be logging, right? He can view all my chats, and he can do whatever he want. So my session ID will be there in his computer, and he can easily log into my system. So that is one of the method where even if you went to some internet cafe or anything, like, people can get your social media accounts. So make sure that you always log out instead of just deleting that web page. So even that is one of the way in which the attacker can compromise your credentials. So what are the ways to prevent it? So one way is using a multi-factor authentication, which is also known as MFA. So let's say I have my login page. So this is username and password. So even when I enter my right username and password, there will be a OTP or a message which will be getting in my mobile phone. So let's say it's 7373. So I need to use this OTP in this browser in order to log in, or else I'll be rejected. You can use OTP, or there is other applications like Authenticator, which is from Google, or Microsoft Authenticator. So you can use such applications to get this one-time password in order to be more secure. So this is one way through which you can be secure from these attacks. And the other one is you have to implement the weak password checks against top 10,000 weak passwords database, so that these weak passwords are not used in your web application. And whenever the user is creating an account, let's say I'm creating an account, so the passwords should be aligned with the National Institute of Standards and Technology, which is also known as NIST 863B guideline. So it should be aligned with that one. And even whenever the user is using this password, there should be complexity. Like he should not use, like, let's say if my username is, let's say, teja123@gmail.com, the password should not be like teja123. It can be easily compromised, right? So that should not be the case. So proper complexity should be given, like they have to use one capital and one small and some special characters as well, which makes their password more secure. And so these are some of the methods through which we can overcome this attack. I'll be also keeping the link in the description for your reference to know more about the prevention methods as well as exploitation methods, which is taken from OWASP. So all these information has been took from OWASP website. So I'll be also keeping it in the description for your reference. I hope you guys understood the concept of today's video. If you have liked the video, please click like button below, and if you're not subscribed to my channel, please do subscribe to my channel, and please share the video. Thanks everyone.